I read a statistic recently that said 50 to 85% of people are dissatisfied with or hate their 9 to 5 jobs. And that was me at one point. Everybody thought that I was insane when I walked away from a 6 figure job. And now I live in Peru. I could not be happier. And I've honestly never felt richer. And it has absolutely nothing to do with money. So here's why I am never looking back. First, I think I should probably explain exactly where I was at before I kind of made this radical life shift. So I was working what I thought was my dream job. I was living in Chicago, which was a dream city of mine to live in. And I thought that I had everything. Like on paper, I had made it. I did everything that was expected of me. I was working in tech, which I thought I loved at the time. And on the outside, things looked perfect. But on the inside, I had no idea what was going on. And I felt like I was honestly kind of just dying inside. Like it felt like I was just living my life, going through the motions, but I did not feel happy. I didn't feel satisfied. I didn't feel fulfilled, and nothing was actually happening. Like my life was going nowhere at the time. So that eventually led me to the first time I went to Peru, which was specifically for an ayahuasca retreat. And on that ayahuasca retreat, literally everything changed. My entire mindset, my entire perspective on life completely shifted. And what I realized I didn't have was love. I didn't love myself. I didn't love who I was. Everything that I was doing was because of somebody else's ideas of what it is that I should be doing, because of my parents' expectations and society's expectations. And I wasn't living my life for me. So about 2 months later, that's when I came back. No, I came back to the States. And then about 2 months later, that's when I decided to walk away from tech, walk away from a stable job, walk away pretty much from everything that I had at that point. And I did not immediately move to Peru. That took quite a few years, actually, about 2.5 years after I first did ayahuasca until I actually started living here in Peru. But I did move to Denver thinking that I was going to start over, start a new life, and just kind of see what happened. And I'll be honest, I struggled for quite a bit. I think I always knew in my mind that I wanted to move here, but that was kind of too radical of a shift for me to do at the time. So I went through the hardships that I needed to go through until I realized just there was nothing within that system. There was no job that I could ever get. I started looking for other jobs. I worked for some retreat centers doing sales for them. I started my trip sitting podcast, which is my previous podcast. Now I have the Being Human and Shit podcast. But I did all of that and I learned so much. And I got comfortable with the idea that I didn't have to have it all figured out. And so a lot of that journey when I was there, and it was hard. I knew that I was living life for me at that point. And so that's what kept me going. And I knew that self-love was the most important thing in my life at the time. And as long as I had that, no matter where I was at, if I could love myself for who I was, then I was always going to be fine. But that's not to say that my mind didn't still get caught up in all of the other things, seeing my bank account just continually decline over the months and over the years. And I tried to get some other jobs. And like I said, it got to the point where I knew that I was never, ever going to be happy working for somebody else. And I wasn't going to be happy living within that system that doesn't give one single shit about me unless I'm being productive in their standards, not in my standards. So 6 months ago, 7 months ago now, that's when I decided to just fucking move here. And so I started my own business. Now I make short clips for people online, and I do that to support myself while I'm here in Peru. And, I still feel the pull of like this need to be productive all of the time and always feel like I'm doing something. And my idea of success is still a little bit tied to how much money I'm making and what I'm doing with my life and what titles I have and what status and all that shit. Even though I know it's false, but I've been ingrained in that for so long that there's a big unlearning period. And as I was going through that, it was so important for me to just remind myself to have grace and have compassion and just enjoy every single part of the journey. Like there is no end destination in life. Anything that we want to achieve, all of these goals that we have, they're just for us. They're for nobody else. And so if I'm doing them for somebody else, then it's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from the ego. Whereas if I'm doing things for me, and I'm just doing them for the sake of doing them because I enjoy doing them, then it's coming from that place of love and that place of expansion. And it brings so much joy into my life to just be able to do that. And one of the biggest shifts about living here in Peru is realizing that this is success. Like, this is everything that I want right now. I get to wake up in the morning whenever the fuck I want. I get to make coffee, smoke a mapacho, look out at these beautiful mountains right outside my window, go to the gym, and then work if I want to. But sometimes I'll just go hang out with friends. Sometimes I'll just do other random things for me. Like there's nothing that I have to do anymore. It's all me. And the whole point of this and this move, and the reason why I'm not looking back, is because now I'm doing life on my own terms. And that doesn't mean that I'm not ever going to go back to the US. I think I honestly will at some point, but having this mindset and being in this environment where I can actually understand what it feels like to just live my life this way and live on my own terms will help me, if I do eventually go back there, to then create that life for myself there. But it's so hard to create that life within the system that is keeping you trapped in it, and it's designed to keep you trapped in it as well. That's the whole point of it. So I'm not saying I have all of the answers and that I figured everything out, or that you should immediately leave the US and move to Peru or whatever country that you're in and move here. I'm not saying that at all, but I think one of the keys is to try to reverse engineer what is it that you actually want in your life, and what are the things that are important to you. What is it that you're actually chasing in life? Do you care about titles, achievements, statuses, and all that stuff because you actually care about it, or because you've been forced to believe that you need to care about it? And so once I realized that all of that was bullshit, then I was able to throw that all out the window and actually make the move here and discover what it means to do life on my own terms. And it is fucking beautiful. It is truly, truly amazing. Uh, I mean, I wake up every single day here so grateful that I get to be here, and so grateful that I get to live my life this way in the way that I actually want, and so grateful that I get to work with all of these beautiful plant medicines that have given me so much and helped me to reframe my mind. And it's not easy. The thing about plant medicine, it's not a quick fix. It's not going to just give you all of the answers. But what it does is it helps you remember who you are. It helps you forget and let go of all that you're not. And that's such a big part of this process of figuring out how to escape the matrix and do life on your own terms. And so, that's why I do help people with psychedelic integration, if that's what they're going through. If they're looking to start their own business, that's also something I help people with. And that's why I have my community on Patreon too. So be sure to check all of those things out. And, if you're curious to learn more, definitely subscribe to my channel, drop me a like, drop a comment. I'll try to answer as much as I can. And I'll see you next video. Much love.